You're gonna learn how to make your illustrations pop and stand out through these tricks I'm gonna show you today. Welcome to Art Mentor, my name is Sean, and today's video features these beautiful artworks submitted by you, my amazing YouTube community, and I'm gonna unlock their potential, and you can follow along with me with step-by-step things that you can do to your own artworks. So follow along, take some notes, and let's go. It's level up time, baby. So today's first artwork is submitted by Mark Soko Art, and you can definitely give them a shout out and follow on Instagram. Go check them out, their stuff is awesome. And Mark Soko, you submitted this amazing artwork. Mark, you're doing things for me here. How'd you know that I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nerd? I cannot ignore the one true king being featured here on my channel. Let's learn a little bit about this. I really enjoy the overall action, the dynamics of this one. I like the lighting difference between like where the fire is at and where the ring wraiths are. Now you might be looking at this and being like, wow, Sean, this is great. Like, what can you possibly do to it? Let me show you. All right, so the first thing that I definitely want to adjust on here is just the overall set of values. And one way that I'm gonna encourage you to continuously check this is to go ahead and just put a black and white filter onto this. So when I go ahead and I do that on this artwork, one thing I'm noticing is that the foremost character here, which should be Aragorn, is not the one that is going to be the darkest. And that's gonna be something that you want to adjust in your illustrations. I'm also gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take a look at a few other things on here that I think need to be toned down a little bit. So watch me do this. All right, y'all, I know this one is hard, but you have to commit to darkness, okay? And I don't mean that you should just make everything black. No, friend, not at all. But what you wanna do is you wanna make sure that you have a really good value hierarchy of what is forwards versus what is backwards. And what is forwards to you should pop a lot through contrast and through it being one of the darkest elements in there. You can most see this embodied within like hard art, and especially fantasy illustrations, just like this one. Also, one of the key things that we want to do is we don't want to show too much light. Remember, this happens at night, so the fact that there's like this big blown out light source happening in the top right, that would never happen with moonlight. Of course, you wouldn't know that if you haven't seen Lord of the Rings, in which case, shame on you. Go do it now, but after you watch this. Here, now you can see that this definitely balances a lot more, and just in value alone, this pops up, but we got more to do right here. Now I want to jump into color because I really like what you've done with this torch light, and since it is so dark, it's gonna radiate a little bit more. I want to help you heat up and cool down some areas just like this. All right, so one of the main things that I definitely want to do at this point is I want to go ahead, I want to add some more hot colors all over Aragorn. It's the only light source in the scene, it's the prominent most light source happening in the scene too. So therefore, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I bring that all over his character, and I want to also bring especially some reds into his character, because the fact that it's just an orange torch doesn't hit as well with me. Instead, you want to make sure that it goes through the entire spectrum of like yellow to orange to red, and I'm not saying those should all be saturated either, because that's not very efficient, nor is that observable, friend. The other thing I'm going to do here at this step is I'm going to add more blues in just to cool down some areas too. I don't want this to only be all hot, and you want to create that nice color balance with it. All right, so now you can see that there is a stark contrast just in color alone between the two, and that working on top of the values, look at how well this is standing out. Now, one of the things I really love about this scene in the movie is this sickly green effect that's happening. And that was really prominent in like the 2000s, but I really like it, especially with these, because it just embodies this mood of like it's sickly and it's really dangerous. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put that onto the background. So learn how to create a mood just like this. So in order to create this sickly green color, the easiest way I know how to do this is I'm gonna go ahead and use a gradient map. And if you've never used gradient maps before, every program has them. They're a very easy way for you to go ahead and add some more color depth into your artworks. You can definitely go ahead and follow on the way that I do it, which is I go ahead and I put it onto a color blending mode. And I generally want to use somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 5 colors. I typically land at about 4 to 5. Just like I use in this one right here. But this is gonna start to bring that sickly effect into it, and that's definitely gonna help Aragorn versus the ring wraiths stand out from each other, and also just show which one's good and which one's evil. So check that out. Now you can definitely see the difference between the two, can't you, right? And I think that this also kind of embodies that moment in the movie, and I love that scene so much. I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so you might be looking at this like, well, what else can you do to this? So I got a couple other things left to do here. First off, y'all, I definitely want to focus us in to Aragorn even more. He is the protagonist of this scene. He's the thing you want to lock your eyes onto. So you want to make sure that through color, through value, and also just a general focus of any type of detail, that is locked into him. So here's what I want to do for this. The first thing I want to do is I definitely want to tone down the sword of the main ring wraith that's happening up over there. I assume that's a Lich King, by the way. So I want to just go ahead and lower its value a little bit. I want to go ahead and I want to subtract that out. And then I also, at the same time, I want to bring a little bit more of that focus onto Aragorn by doing this. Another thing I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to separate out the ring wraiths a little bit more. I want to bring a little bit more of that ethereal element, that evil element into them, because I'm having a hard time figuring out like where do they separate and how do they not look like those things from the Prisoner of Azkaban, you know what I'm talking about? So to do that, I'm going to just use a nice greenish haze and it'll help to separate them out, and this will also help to obscure some of their overall textures and their overall details so that all of that beautifulness is just going to go into Aragorn. Y'all always want to make sure that you don't muddle the focal point of your artworks. All right, y'all, this is looking great. I got one more thing, and it's got to do with the overall intensity of this scene, because I'm going to teach you how to blow up your artwork, and it's going to start by y'all doing this. Starting this off, I want to get some of that reflectivity of light and how it's going to bounce off of certain things. Like, I definitely see that sword light where it's closest to the torch. I want to go ahead, I want to bring that out to it as well. I want to go ahead, I want to bring a little bit more intensity to some of the colors and items closest to Aragorn too. And then I'm going to employ just a little subtle rim light around this. Whenever y'all are doing any type of moonlit characters, it's not going to be a very strong light. It's going to be ever so slight, and that's just going to help them separate out from their background. It's going to help them separate out from other characters. It's going to help you overall bring focus to your artworks just like this. I'm also going to create a little bit of a subtle blue coloring into the areas that I want to cool down because they're further away from the light source of the scene. All right, y'all, so check this out. Here we go. We started off here and then boom, check this one out here. This is so awesome. And I mean, and to be honest, Mark, this is crazy good to begin with, but I hope that you all learned how to do this yourself. I'm going to teach you how to do this one more time with some new sets of skills and some other artworks. So check this out. So if you believe in the power of your art and your illustrations too, and you want to get some extra tips and tricks on how to do that more often, definitely make sure you like and subscribe to my content, because I'm all about empowering you, helping you reach your highest level. And if you want to get to the next level in your artwork, I want to tell you about my Art Mentorship program. This is not a course, it's not a class, it's just me and you working one-on-one on what you want and nothing else but that. I can help you grow your business, I can help you get into commissions, I can help you get into industry, I can help you accomplish the things that you want to do, and I'm going to be the guide to get you there for it, friend. So if you're interested in that and you don't want to participate in what most people do, which is just lame courses and classes, make sure you check out the link below, fill out that Google form, and I'll reach out to you. Now, let's move into this next example. All right, our next contestant today is Lily Drawings that gives us this artwork. So the overall idea behind this artwork is this is an illustration about a scientist and her assistant who are researching a potent chemical to strengthen the agriculture of their hometown. Things that I do love about this, I really like the narrative component of this. I like that there's some interactions, and I definitely love the steampunk aesthetic to this one. I don't get to do these too often, but man, this is a fun universe for y'all to experiment with. I highly recommend it. But nonetheless, we're gonna level this thing up. So let's make this pop. Here we go. All right, Lily, you asked for it. I'm gonna teach you how to level up this background. The way I'm gonna go ahead and do that is through photo bashing. Check this out. All right, y'all, if you don't know how to photo bash as a digital painter, I want to encourage you to definitely learn how to do it. So I'm going to employ the techniques that I always teach how to do this, and just by putting this in, I'm going to simply go ahead and create that level of detail that you recognize, Lily, that you wanted to get in there. Now listen, if you have no idea how to do this, I put a link into the description of this video for you to learn how to do it. It's my method, and I've done it with a lot of different pieces throughout this channel. So definitely check that out, but check it out after you watch this, because this is going to be awesome. Check this out. All right, now, because this is in a lab and it's during the day, one of the things that I'm not getting about this is kind of what time of day it is. Or since this is a botanical lab, it should be, judging by all the light up there, should be exposed to mostly natural sunlight. So what I want to do is I want to increase some color temperature options on here in order to make it contrast better with what's happening in the foreground. Check this out. Here's how you do it. So in order to contrast this best with what's happening in the foreground, I want to implement a lot more hot colors into the background here, as if it's just nice, warm, bright daylight. I'm gonna do this with a gradient map and a few other effects up on here. And y'all wanna think about this too. How do you use color just to separate out foregrounds and backgrounds too? And especially too, it'll help the mood on this one. Watch what happens when I do this later. And you can do this a lot of different ways. You can do this through gradient maps. You can also do this just through photo filters as well. I'm gonna experiment around with this and see which one I like best. Now that the background's pretty secure, I wanna go ahead, I wanna launch into some anatomical features of these characters that I think you can definitely improve on just a little bit, and it's gonna help the narrative of this piece big time. Watch this. The first thing I want to adjust on here is I want to take care of their shoulders. I think that they're just looking too broad. Another thing too is on the male scientist, since his shoulders are that broad and his chest is that broad, it's kind of weird to me that his arms are that thin. So I want to go ahead, I want to fix that up real quick, okay? Now, the next thing I want to talk about with you is how do you show interactions between characters? So what I want to do here is I want to level up their expressions. I want to level up their gestures too. So like for the male scientist, the assistant who's like kind of quizzical up over here, I want to increase that expression. I want to raise his brows a little bit. I want to tilt his head, because like when you get confused, you know, or when you're expressing too, what I encourage you to do, this sounds really stupid, but I'll help you big time. Check this out. Just do it yourself. Like think about the most exaggerated way that you could express something. So I'm going to tilt his head. I'm going to tilt her head a little bit too. I want them to just show and direct us towards the main focal point, which should be that kind of purple vial happening right there. All right, so you see how much more powerful that is? It wasn't bad whatsoever, but y'all want to just think about how do you exaggerate the storytelling aspects just through gestures alone like that. It's subtle, but it's so much better, isn't it? Now, I want to go ahead and I want to make sure that the focal point of this, being the characters in the vial, are the focal points, and do that, I got to adjust some values. Check this out. And here's how you want to do it. So I want to go ahead and I want to darken out some areas, and I also want to just bring more focus onto the main characters here. Again, you want to make sure that your foreground characters and your foreground elements are going to be the darkest parts of any type of illustration that you want to make. One common mistake that I see people do is that they have the exact same values: foregrounds, middle grounds, and backgrounds. Y'all can't do that, okay? You need to make sure that you separate them out through either them being lighter and then the background being significantly darker, or like I'm doing right here, I'm gonna darken up the foreground and proceed to then lighten up the background. See how much more the characters pop now? And you wanna be careful, of course, not to overkill this, not to make them look like they're singed, burnt, or charred. That's the opposite effect that we want here too. One last thing we wanna do now is let's blow up these special effects. Let's go. Now, ever since I first laid eyes on this, I just thought to myself, man, I really just want to pump up, I want to level up the overall effect of what's going on in that purple vial. And what that's going to do is going to emphasize this epic, important discovery. I want to do this through color. I also want to make sure that that purple color is going to be reflecting onto them a little bit more. I like how you started to do it, but I want to encourage y'all, especially with this one, to commit to doing that. If there's a big radiant light source, like this purple should be all over these characters, and it should be adopting most of them. And even though everything shouldn't make them look like they're giant Grimace-esque characters, you know, from McDonald's, you want to make sure that that is going to reflect, and it's going to pollute all of the native colors of your characters. That's a big thing I don't see a lot of people do. And then lastly, I definitely want to make sure that I just blow up all these amazing special effects all over this too. This is all to the effect of just creating more drama in your illustrations and focus. All right, y'all, so check this out, Lily. You gave me this one, really awesome, but then boom, check this one out now. Isn't that so great? Like, I love the start of this too, and I hope you learned how to do all of this yourself too, and especially you, Lily. Thank you so much for submitting to this one. I got some more for you right here. Now, everybody in this artwork and watching this too, I wanna encourage you as far as what do you need to do in order to use illustrations just like the ones I've shown you right now to get to a next level and definitely to earn a better living off it. So make sure you watch this video right here. I'm going to teach you all the tips and tricks that I know, and you're going to see it applied just like this. See you in the next one.